if you go to the meetings and like the events, it's an event that Arbonne has going on. It's the Flourish Vision and Focus. It's like everything combined together where we're all coming together for a training. And September 10th, especially, like you must be a part of September 10th. But you're going to want to be a part of all of it because you guys, these are top of the top leaders that Arbonne brings to us. And you guys, when you look at the cost of the entire like conference, it's so minimal for what you're going to get out of it, especially if you treat it like a global conference that is going to radically change your business, because you get to sit at the feet of people whose businesses are exploding and whose business, like they are successful. And that is why they are teaching and training. And so, gosh, so many times we see these people and like, I wish I could pick their brain. This is you picking their brain. It's them telling you what they're doing. And so make sure you put this on your calendar. It's going to be an amazing, amazing event. There is something big coming your way, and we're so excited about it. And I know it's going to be huge, which is the reason why we've even moved our one-day training. So I know a lot of us had our one-day training in we knew it was going to be in September, but because of this event that we think is so important, we wanted to make sure that we made this the biggest focus of that month, and therefore the one-day training has been moved to October. And shoot, I had that written down and I don't know where I put it. I think it's October 10th as well, but is it 10th as well? Yes, October 10th. I'm like, I thought so, but I was thinking maybe I was losing my mind. So put those things on your calendar. The VP retreat is going to be a virtual VP retreat. I'm sure pockets of us will get together with our VP so we can keep smaller groups together still and still have a great time, but be able to join together virtually. But those are just some things you want to keep on your calendar. The MVP retreat is going to be in person. So you guys, go Nation! Because you still can. I mean, gosh, people come in and go Nation in 6 months in Arbonne, like it happens. And so if you're already in area and you're already like along, like you can do this. And so believe big, and just know that honestly, this next quarter that we're walking into is significant for our businesses, especially for those who recognize it and lean into it. And so that's honestly what I wanted to talk a little bit tonight, was just about 90 days of focus. And for me, a lot of times, like I'll hear 90 days of focus and it kind of overwhelms me a little bit and it feels too big. And so, but ultimately, like that's what we want, is 90 days of extreme focus. And so letting the world know, letting your family know, letting your friends know, letting everyone in your world know you are taking this sucker serious. Like they need to see you as a serious business person, and that this isn't just a hobby to you. And not just for them to see it, but for you to step up and treat this like a business. Because honestly, huge things happen in your business during this next quarter. And this next quarter is what positions you to be earning the next incentive trips that Arbonne launches, to be lots of fun things that are coming your way. But in this season that we're going into, most businesses are not saying, oh, it's going to be whatever, you know, let's slow down. Like right now, all businesses globally around the world are amping up because this is the biggest shopping months of the year coming up right away. And we're business owners. And I think sometimes we forget that we are business owners. And imagine if you had just bought a Starbucks and you showed up for your Starbucks business the way you showed up for your Arbonne business. And so be that person that invests in your business the way you would if you had just spent 1.5 million or 3 million on your business to start it. Like you would be grinding all morning and all night to make sure that your business was successful. And so consistency, you guys, ultimately, like that is the secret sauce. Like if you bought a McDonald's franchise and you started changing things up, well, first of all, they wouldn't sell you a McDonald's franchise if you were going to change it up. So it's not It's not diving into something that you have to change all up. It's diving into making the same hamburger every single day. Make that same hamburger every single day, even if it's so boring that you want to poke your eyeballs out, make the same hamburger because it's proven success. And they don't start changing it up because they're bored with it. They make the same hamburger every day because consistency with the same thing repeated over and over and over has brought them massive success. Even if it's something that's not healthy for you, look at the success it brought. So we've all just come off of the compound effect, and we're diving into the power of a positive team. And gosh, like what I keep thinking over and over and over is we need to, with going into this, the power of a positive team, go into this next 90 days with what kind of a team do I want to build in this next 90 days? What kind of people do I want to attract into my team? What are the qualities that I want? I don't know if you guys remember in the book, The Compound Effect, where he talked about all the qualities that he listed out for the wife that he wanted to marry. Like, this is the woman he wants to attract. And then he was like, what kind of a man would I have to be to attract that type of a person? What kind of a leader would you have to be to attract the kind of leaders you want to see in your organization? So if you're not showing up for your business, then your team's not going to show up for their business. And you're going to have a team that looks exactly like you or worse. Because what you do, your team doesn't just mimic, but it normally does a little bit less. It's just kind of like with your kids too. Like if you talk a little trashy, your kids will probably talk a little more trashy. If you dress a little iffy, your kids are probably going to dress even a little more iffy than you did. And so where you set the bar, they're going to set the bar a little bit lower. So where do you want that bar for your team? And so going into this next season of the power of a positive team, making that our focus. What do I want? Get crystal clear, because you have to be clear on where you're going and what you want out of something before you'll ever get there. If you're like, oh, I'm just going to kind of just go and see where I end up. It's the same idea of saying, hey, I'm going to go on vacation to Florida, but you never put the address into the GPS of where you're going. And you're like, oh, I'm just going to drive. I'll get there eventually. I guarantee you, if you just start doing that, you're probably never going to end up in Florida. Never. If you're not following the road signs, if you don't have it in your GPS, Lord knows I would never end up in Florida, especially coming from where I come. I need a GPS, and we need GPS. I mean, half the time I can't even make it to St. Louis without losing my bearings and like, oh, I missed my exit again. And so, but the cool thing is we have a plan. We have a simple system, but we have to get crystal clear on where we're going. Where do you want to be? What's that level that you need to be at? What dollar amount do you want to be making on your paycheck? Like, write those things down. Like, what do I want my paycheck to be in the next 90 days? What level do I need to be at to be making that kind of a paycheck? Or a better question to ask is, how many people do I need to help make a paycheck for me to make that kind of a paycheck? Like, how many people am I helping make a district manager paycheck before I'll be making a nice area manager paycheck? If you're an area manager and you're going towards area bonus, how many people on my team do I need to help a strong area paycheck or a strong district paycheck? So who on your team do you need to help find success? And when you lead your team to success, then you're ultimately going to have the things that you want. So where do you need to be? And then how many people do I need to help find success in order for me to get to where I'm at? Because we don't get successful in this business unless we help enough other people get successful. So with that, look at my notes here. Goodness, I start talking and I don't look at my notes and I'm like, 90 days of consistency, decide. So you have to first decide where you want to go, decide how much money you want to make, figure out what are the things that what does that mean for you when you get there? Like Carlita says, get crystal clear on your why. When you get there, what does that mean for you? What does that mean? Do you get to walk away from your full-time job? Do you get to go part-time? Do you get to have a better Christmas this year? Do you get to pay off your student loans? Like, what does that mean for you when you get to that dollar amount? So get crystal clear on what that looks like so you can see yourself walking through that celebration line like, yes, we did this. And you guys, so a 90-day goal and embracing consistency. So many times I think what we do is we treat our business like have you guys ever rode with someone or rode behind someone on the highway where they're constantly riding their brake and you're like, dude, get your foot off the brake. I have a little tiny bit of road rage. But that is so annoying to me when someone's riding with their foot on the brake because I don't know what they're doing. Their foot's constantly hitting the brake and I'm freaking out over here. What's going on? Get your foot off the brake. And I think that's what I was thinking about this as I was driving down the road today with this person, foot on the brake. And I'm like, that's what we do in Arbonne. We drive with our foot on the brake because we're not fully committed or we're a little terrified or we're a little scared or whatever. And we make things way worse than they need to be because we're riding with our foot on the brake. Whereas if we would just let our foot off the brake and just hit that gas and just ride with confidence, knowing where we're going because we have it in the GPS. We have our system mapped out. You guys, our GPS is how are we going to get there? We're going to get there with our, with that, I would keep wanting to call it the Doing Your Part Weekly focus, but the daily method sheet. That's how we get there. You guys, that's our GPS, how to get there. Daily method sheet. The other thing is having your why crystal clear in front of you. That's your GPS, where you're going to go. Daily method sheet is how you're going to get there. But who do you want on your team? What are the qualities of those people? Make that list. If you've never done that, you guys, it is so powerful. Make it. Like, there are so many little tiny simple things that we hear it all the time, but we don't do it. So if you've never made a list of what are the qualities that you want in your team, make that list tonight and send it to your upline and say, this is the list of qualities that I'm looking for in a team. Send it to your upline tonight and just say, I'm in, I'm ready for 90 days of consistency. This is the type of team. And therefore, this is the that I want. And then dive into choosing to lead.
It's Clancy Stewart.
Oh, thanks. Sorry. Krista just called it out. I'm like trying to find.
Sorry, I know I'd want somebody to call me out. Like, please tell me. I didn't mean to. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I'm so like this if I don't figure it out. Okay. So yes, so it's not driving with your foot on the brake. Figure out where you want to go. Figure out what kind of a team you want. Figure out who you need to become in the midst of it, and take your foot off the brake and start. So this is the other thing. You guys are the cream of the crop, but I really want to encourage you guys, if you have team members and you have not truly sat them down and said, listen, do you want to succeed? Ask them some questions. I feel like go back and visit with everyone that's been on your team, that is on your team, that is not plugging into these things. If they're not plugging in, you guys, then either you have not led them to plug in or they don't really want it that bad. And it's okay either way. But if it's because you haven't led them to this, then go back and just say, hey, listen, like, I just want to make sure that I'm being the best leader that I can be for you. And I wanted just to let you know, like, I was on this call tonight of 90 days of consistency, and I am like so ready. Like, this is where I'm going. I would love to take you with me. I would love for us to go together. And I don't know where you're at. And I just wanted to talk to you because I know that to be successful in something like, well, first of all, ask them, do you still, like, I know this is where you told me you wanted to be. Do you still want those dreams? Ask them some questions. Figure out, because sometimes, like, I don't know if they want it or not. Ask questions. If you don't know, you guys, ask them some questions. So do you still want this? And if they're like, yeah, I still want it, then say, I want to be so honest with you because I want you to succeed. And the only way that you're going to succeed is if you're plugged into a source that's going to fill you up. And this next 90 days, like, I want us both, I want our whole team to be just a powerhouse, positive team plugged into this positive leadership training book that we're getting ready to start. And let's lock arms and be that team that not only decides to make a difference in our own families, but decides to make a difference in the world around us. Because together we can make a difference. People are waiting for you to ask them to be a part of something. But if you don't see yourself as that leader, even if it's just you and one other person, let's go do this. Let's make a difference. Let's play big and actually follow the system, and let's see what happens. Like, I have a feeling we can make a significant difference just in this next 90 days. Let's track it. Let's be accountable to somebody. Like, I'm finding an accountability person. I have an accountability person. You guys, I have to show my daily message sheet to someone every single week, all of them for the week. I have to show that information. And if I'm not doing my reach outs, I got to pay up money. Like, I put money on the line because money makes me work. I don't like giving my money away because of laziness. So I've had to figure out what works for me, because I figure if I'm not doing these things, I'm losing money anyway. So I might as well make it hurt a little bit worse. And for me, I put a little money on the line, and I have to pay up $50 if I don't do what I'm supposed to do. I have $50 on the line for a lot of different things that I have wanted to make a habit in my life. And so decide, this is the last thing I just wanted to say, is you have to decide, what are you willing to give up for the next 90 days? What's something that is wasting your time that you can say, you know what, this is not building my dreams. This is not moving me closer to my whys. This is not getting me anything that I want in the future. This is just legit a time waster. And I'm giving this up for a few months so that I can lean in to the things that are going to move me closer to where I want to be. Sometimes there's seasons in our life and in our business where we lean in a little bit more and we build momentum. And then you can ride momentum once you get it. Because I know whenever I first started driving, I drove a stick shift. And like in the beginning, like you're in first gear, it's like, and I mean, I was a terrible driver. Like, I'd get whiplash every time I went anywhere. But once you got into like fifth gear, like you could just cruise because you had built that momentum. There's no more shifting. You're good to go. But then you like have to like downshift for whatever it was that came your way, a stoplight. Life happens. Sometimes we have to downshift, but then we need to pick it back up and we need to start cruising. And so you might start off in first gear, but it's okay. At least you're getting started. Don't let yourself shame yourself. That's the biggest thing. Do not shame yourself for where you are at. If you are on this call, pat yourself on the back and be so proud of you because you're here and you showed up today. And that is huge. And as women, especially, we are so good at shaming ourselves and beating ourselves up and telling ourselves all the things we should have done. And Rita, I love that lady so much. If you guys have never got to hear any of Rita Davenport's training, she used to be our former vice president in Arbonne. Love that woman. And she said, you should never should on yourself. Like, I should have done this or I should have done that. She's like, everybody else shoulds on you enough. You don't need to be shoulding on yourself. So anytime you should on yourself, just remind yourself, I'm not allowed to do that. And don't do that to yourself because it doesn't move you forward. And we're so quick to beat ourselves up. Instead, anytime you feel that condemnation or like, even if it's at 9 o'clock at night and you're like, dang it, I didn't do anything I was going to do for my business. Set a 5-minute timer, 5 minutes, you guys, and say, what's the next best thing I can do for my business right now? And do one thing that will move your business forward before you go to bed at night, instead of going to bed at night thinking, tomorrow I'll try again. Do not go to bed like that. Don't believe in yourself. Cast a bigger vote for yourself versus going to bed shaming yourself. Don't do that. We're all better than that. And we can choose every single night to do one thing. Even if it's at 10 o'clock at night, you can send a Facebook message. You can reach out to one person. You can encourage somebody. Do something that's going to move you forward or move your business forward every single day. And even if it's 10 o'clock at night, you can still do it. And so, but the biggest thing is don't shame yourself. Decide that you're going to commit to it. Decide what you can let go of. I'm going to tell you guys this quick story. When I was going from district to region, I was a struggling district manager. I had been a district manager for 4 months. I'd been a district manager for 3 months. I had been in Arbonne for 4 months. And I had 9 presentations scheduled on my calendar. Finally, I fought so hard to fill my calendar. I finally had 9 presentations. I had a lot of rejection in my business, a lot of rejection from the people that I thought for sure would support me. My friends, my family, my best friend laughed at me. told me I would never succeed because I lived in Granite City, and no one's gonna buy these products. My sister would not host a presentation for me. My mother hosted, but was embarrassed to invite anybody. And so my granny who lived with her was the only one that showed up. So you guys, I'm telling you, it wasn't an easy peasy start for me. And at month 4, I was so excited because I finally had 9 presentations scheduled. I finally, for my first time, had a full calendar because it was 8 actual presentations was a full calendar. Guess what? 8 of my 9 canceled within a 48-hour span. I legit was crying. I remember like getting on the phone and like just calling a bunch of people because I had heard a training that when one falls off, you replace it with another. So I got on the phone to call these people to replace my parties. I had 17 people back to back tell me no, 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 no. I hate rejection more than anybody. More than anybody, I hate rejection. I was the child that if my mom told me my friends couldn't stay the night, I was bawling my eyes out and it was personal. She doesn't love me. Why does my mom not love me? Because my friend can't stay the night. That's this child. So for God to put me in a business like this is very comical to me because it has been a journey to say the least. But you guys, I called Carlita because she asked me if I ever decided I didn't want to do Arbonne anymore, would I please at least call her and let her know what happened and what made me decide that I was done. I called Carlita, ready to throw in the towel. I honestly felt like I didn't know who else to call. I felt like I had burned through my list. I didn't know who else to call. And I was crying. I hated Arbonne that day. I wanted to burn my kit and think this was for somebody else. This wasn't for me. I just must have thought it was supposed to be for me. But when it gets hard, we start backtracking and thinking, well, maybe not. Maybe it wasn't supposed to be for me. And that's where I was at month 4 in my business. And Carlita gave me a pep talk and she said, are you going to let all those people steal your dreams away from you? Have your dreams changed? And my dreams had not changed. I just decided that I didn't have what it took to make this work. And I remember at that point, there was a decision made for me. She's like, all these people have succeeded. You can succeed too. And I put up a picture in my room of a house with a bunch of white Mercedes in front of it. And I remember thinking, if all these people can be successful, why not me? And there was a decide that happened inside of me that day. And I decided, I don't care how long it takes, I'm never quitting. I'm not making these people right. My brother-in-law said I'd never succeed. He was the first person that went on my car presentation invitation list. So break out your car presentation invitation list. And anytime someone rejects you or whatever, put them on that list. And do this to prove to them that, yes, you can. It might take you a little longer. I didn't know how long it would take me. But I decided I'm taking some things out of my life so I can lean in a little bit harder. And that's what I did. You guys, I took TV out of my life. I told my husband, until I go region, I didn't know how long that was going to be. I was 4 months struggling district. Until I go region, no TV. He was like, what? I'm like, yep. Because I heard a training that said when you're watching TV, you're living in someone else's dreams. And instead of living in somebody else's dreams, why don't you go make your own dreams become a reality? And so that was huge for me. I'm like, you know what? I'm done living in other people's dreams. I'm going to go make my dreams become a reality. And then I'm going to have my own TV show. No. And here we are. You guys are watching me. No. But you guys, I sacrificed TV. My husband would be watching Everybody Loves Raymond in the other room. And I'd be in the office, like making phone calls. And I'd be listening to it kind of through the wall, and I'd start laughing because I could hear it, and he'd be like, you're not supposed to be watching. I'm like, I'm not watching, I'm listening. But I took out TV until I went region. I didn't know how long that was going to be. I took out shopping. I love to shop even if I don't have the money to buy it. I just want to touch everything and smell it. Like when you walk in the store, that smell of formaldehyde, I love the smell. And so I took out shopping because I didn't even have a paycheck to be buying stuff. And I knew that I didn't need to be shopping anyway. I was just wasting my time. And so I took out things that I knew weren't moving me forward for a season, but I also added some rewards. What I said was, when I go region, I'm taking $1,000 of my first region paycheck and I'm going to blow it on a new region wardrobe. And you guys, when I went region, so you guys, that was my lean in. I decided that day there's no back door. I'm never quitting Arbonne. My only exit plan is death, or if Arbonne shuts its doors. Only way I'm quitting this business. I'm going to die or Arbonne shutting their doors. And because I was that committed, I've never looked back. That was month 4. By month 6, I was an area manager. I went into qualification in month 5. Month 6, I was an area manager. And by month 9, I was a regional vice president, you guys. Makes me cry. Because I decided. And I decided to bet on me. And I decided to do the things and to lean into it and to not let people steal my dreams away because of their negativity or because of whatever. And I decided that these products are amazing and everyone needs them. And I decided to build my belief like you wouldn't believe. When I went region, someone asked me, why do you think you succeeded so fast? It didn't feel fast to me. I didn't know how long it was going to take. I was like ready for 2 years, 5 years. I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm in this. And then it happened in 9 months. And my husband was at this breakfast, which I built my business all the way to region without a supportive husband too. A very negative husband, to mind you, who I could not talk to about my Arbonne business at all because it was not a conversation that we could have in our home. When I went region, a few months before I went region, he started getting pretty supportive. He started seeing some paychecks, and he's like, "Is this sustainable?" And then he's like, "Do you think I can get a Harley?" And I'm like, "Listen, dude, you got to use the skincare if you want the Harley." And he did. He got himself a Harley. I put it on the vision board. And whenever he'd like, "You're working at Arbonne again?" I'd be like, "Vroom, vroom, baby, right?" And he did. He got a Harley. And he drove that for a while, and that was a blast. But needless to say, when I went region, I was at this little breakfast, a getting started breakfast, and someone said, do you care to say why you think you got successful so fast? And I'm thinking, oh, dude, I didn't feel like it was that fast in the grunt of it. But they were, and my husband's like, can I answer that question? I'm sitting there thinking, oh, Lord, what's going to come out of his mouth? And you know what he said? He said, it's because you listened to trainings all day long and you didn't let anybody else get in your head. You listened to successful people all day long. You guys, 100%, that's exactly what I did. I had a training on and this had 24/7 because my head left by itself for 10 minutes went negative. I couldn't let it be by itself. I brainwashed myself into success mode. And I think that's what we all have to embrace is brainwashing yourself into being the CEO of your business and seeing yourself as that top leader of your organization, rising up to be that leader of that positive team that you're going to build in the next 90 days. 90 days seems like a long time. So what we're going to do is we're going to break it down. We're going to put the 90-day plan up, but we're going to break it down. We're going to focus on the first 30 days. August is your first 30 days, you guys. I don't care if this is your part way into it. This is your first 30 days because these next 90 days are like huge for your business. So trust your MVPs when we tell you this. Trust us. So this is your first 90 days, August. Where do you need to be at the end of this based off where you want to be at the end of your 90? And you guys, you will see a compound effect happen. So if you don't see exactly where you say you want to be at the end of August, do not get discouraged. Do not grow weary in doing well because there will come a harvest. And so set your goals, figure out where you need to be. If you need to talk to your upline to say, hey, how do I map this out? How many people does this look like on my team? Write out the qualities of the leaders that you want, break it down. And if you're like me, I have my 90-day goals, but then I break them down into weekly goals. And so each week I have my goals written out. And that's what I'm accountable with to my accountability person. But then I have my goal card written out. It has my monthly goal where I want to be, but I have a 90-day one that I wrote out. I wrote it out for this just because I'm leaning into this with you guys. Like my family knows I'm done with the extracurricular stuff. Like we're leaning into some massive activity. They're going to lean into not seeing me as much. They've seen a whole lot of me. I'm leaning into momentum. And so I have a 90-day goal card written out for myself. Where do I want to be in 90 days? And then I have a August one written out. And then I'm going to have one written out for September. And then I'm going to have one written out for October. And when I'm done with October, I'm going to be to where my 90-day goals are written out. And so map them out. What does that mean for you? And then lean into that daily message sheet. You guys, we have every resource that you need. One of the things that I do, like I said, I take a list. I take a picture of Tammy Clinton used to say this all the time, and I love it. Make a list, work a list, make a list, work a list, make a list, work a list, make a list, work a list. Every day, make a list, work your list. So that's what I have to do as part of my accountability is every night before I go to bed, I take a picture of the list that I have made and I send it to my accountability person. That's part of what I have to do before I go to bed at night. If I don't send that before midnight, $50. And the next day, after I'm done, before I go to bed, then I have to take a picture of that list that I made, what was checked off of it, and what did I add to that list. And so she gets to see my finished product for that day, and then she gets to see the new list for the next day. So if she keeps seeing a name moving, and never being reached out to, she's like, why are you avoiding that person? So she has permission to say, why is this person still on your list? She's been on there for 5 days. Why is she not checked off that list yet? Like, what's holding you back on this? And so she has questions that she can ask me based off of why I'm avoiding certain things. And so make your list, find someone, whether it's your upline or someone, like, don't pace with someone that's on your team. Either pace with a sideline that's maybe a little bit ahead of you or around the same pace. Don't pace with someone who's going to bring you down. You talk to your upline. Your upline can help you find someone that would be a perfect match for you to pace with, but find someone that you can be accountable with, and just hold each other's foot to the fire because of your whys, and lean in to just making it happen for your whys, for your dreams, and for yourself, to prove to yourself that you can do this. So I think, let me see. I am so bad at following notes. I write them down and then I'm like, well, we kind of said some things.
Is your list just a person list, like your 100-person list? Is that what you're talking about when you're talking about your list?
No, so on Fridays, good question. So on Friday, so I have like a running note. I use Evernote, you guys. Evernote, I know you can't really see it on here, but Evernote looks like a big elephant, and you can use any kind of note system. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it looks like an elephant. See if I can zoom in a little bit better here. Anyway, it's an elephant. It's called Evernote. I don't know why it's not zooming better. Oh, now I'm on the map. There we go. Can you guys see that, the elephant up there? Okay, that's the app I use. And I just have like a folder in there that's called Arbonne. So you can create notebooks, and then you can create notes in your notebook. And I like that because you can like search for, it's just like a regular note system, except for you can create notebooks and then have notes in each notebook. So it just gives you a little bit more order. So I have an Evernote note that is all my contacts. Like, I just keep adding contacts to that list. It's like my master list. But then on Fridays, on my Freedom Friday, I do like my weekly plan. So this is kind of my system. So on Fridays, I have like a weekly review, and I come up with like, okay, these are the 25 names that I really, really want to reach out to this week or more. But I try to make sure I have bare minimum 25 names. And then I work, so that what I'm sending to her each night is my daily message sheet. Like, who are those people that I'm going to reach out to in those slots of the daily message sheet? So like, who are my new people? Who are my follow-ups? Those are the names, like, who am I going to encourage on my team? So like, those are the things that go on my daily list that I send to her. And I'm following the daily message sheet, but I actually just put it into my planner. And then sometimes there's time slots where she can see, oh, I have a presentation here, I have this here. So she sees like my whole daily agenda for that day. That's what I send to her. So she knows what my whole day looks like. And she can see consistently then if I'm not having enough presentations on my calendar. She can be like, I haven't been doing very many presentations. So she can call me out on the things that I want her to see a whole lot of on my calendar. But yeah, so then on my contact list, I just kind of keep that growing. And then I make a weekly list, because that way not every day I'm like, who am I going to reach out to? I already have this big weekly list of the people that I really want to reach out to this week. It just helps me. So Freedom Friday, I do my meal planning. I do all the things that will help me to be a little bit more prepared for the whole week. And then on that Friday, then I normally always put my Instacart grocery list together. I just kind of take 1 hour and plan my week, figure out who I want to reach out to, who have I not followed up with, who am I falling through the cracks. Every Friday, I draw out my circle charts, so that way I can kind of look and see where are the new people. And some people, I X them off my circle charts based off of their consistency. And it's not that, like, I put them in a little box. They're like people that are not gone forever, but they don't get to count as a circle on my circle chart unless they're consistent with activity. Because I don't want to build a team that looks bigger than it really is. It's like a false sense of security. I would rather like X everybody off and be like, oh, dang, I really only have one team member. Because it frees me up to know, like, okay, go look for the right people instead of trying to raise the dead, if that makes sense. Because you don't need a whole lot of successful people. You just need a few people who really want it, who you don't have to babysit 24/7. I hope that makes sense. Like, we encourage people, we love people, we welcome them, but you work with the workers, you run with the runners. And if you haven't found a runner yet, then you keep working your personal business until you find that. And you help people along the way, but no one had to come and encourage me and pick me up off the ground every day. I wanted this bad enough that I decided, like, I stalked Carlita. Carlita didn't stalk me. So one of my mantras is I work with the people that keep me busy, not with the people that I have to keep busy. And so if I have to keep you busy, then you probably don't want it that much. But if you're working and you need me, I'm here for you. You're the person I'm going to answer the phone call. So I hope that makes sense.
Sheri, hey, it's Lindsay.
Yeah.
Can I say something? I just wanted to share an aha moment that I had today. Devin had offered some specific coaching for me this week, just around looking at some conversations that I had over the past week in the hopes of finding a little bit of room to improve on booking activity. So her business is in a place where she's having to kind of cut off activity for the month because she's doing so well. And her, hopes is to just help us be able to keep our calendars full. So for me, the observation that I had was that if Arbonne was my only job, which I want it to be, my calendar would look different. So to your point, like, yes, I say I'm a lifer, I am, but I don't know that I work my activity and filling my calendar as if that's my only option. So for me, like, would close day look different? Would, my focus look different? Is there that extra level of urgency if Arbonne's the only thing that's potentially providing for my family? I guarantee it would look different.
Yeah.
I guarantee if my paycheck didn't come in every other Friday and Arbonne was it, my activity would look different. So that's like, when you need to dig deep and say, what's the why? That's a whole other level of let's get it done. Like, let's find that. And Devin was kind enough to look at very specific screenshots and say, like, here's some ways that we could go back. Here's how we can relook at that. And just some really just years of experience to say, here's how I think you can be more personalized to make that connection to help make a difference so that you can book from bookings versus having to continually find, like, reaching out cold to new. So for me, using our upline to help those specific real life conversations, that was so helpful, but also really thinking about, for those of us that are still working another job, like, you got to treat, like, for me, the revelation is you got to treat it as if this is the only option and that is the only thing going to pay the bills for your family or put food on the table, your calendar would look different. And that's what the next 90 days is about for us in the Duggar household. So that is my challenge to everybody, is like, if this is the only option, and like, whatever it is, whatever the why is, how are you going to do it? And what does your calendar look like to support it?
Yeah. I love that.
Just wanted to share.
I love that you are a very, very successful person. So I would feel a little bit intimidated to coach you as Devin. And the other thing that I love so much about you is that even in spite of your success in your corporate job, you put that aside and you say, hey, coach me. You put your business out there. You put your verbiage out there. You are an open book. This is it. Coach me. And you're so coachable. And I know that that is why you are experiencing the success that you are. And I love that. And thank you for sharing that. And seriously, like, I feel like this next 90 days, one of the things, like, a little side note, I was very involved, like, when I talked about, like, everyone in your world needs to know that you're taking this serious, that this isn't a hobby for you. My family, everyone in my family knows I don't play Arbonne. Like, I do Arbonne. Like, Arbonne is my family business. It pays my bills. It is not a hobby. This is serious stuff for us. My family respects Arbonne because I respect Arbonne. It's not like, oh, I can miss that call, or oh, I can do this or whatever. They know, and it's been that way from the beginning. Whenever I started my Arbonne business, my parents are pastors of a church. And so I grew up in the church. My parents were missionaries when I grew up in that. Now they pastor a church. But when I grew up as 15, 16, 17, whatever, like, church is the most important thing in your life. And I'm not saying church is not, but what happened was, after church was over, we always would go out to eat after church on Sunday nights. Well, we used to have our conference calls on Sunday nights. And when I decided to make a commitment, because I used to, like, sometimes be on the conference call, but, like, just kind of have it muted while I'd be sitting there with everyone so Carlita would think I was on it. When I decided, I stopped going out to eat after church, or I'd go sit in my car until my conference call was over, and then I would go in after I was done eating out. I would step out of the room. I'd go hide in a closet if we were at a family event or wherever we were and there's a conference call going on. Everyone knows, oh, she's got a conference call. She's got a work call. And if they're like, oh, whatever, I'm like, no, this is my business. I treat it like a business. Like, it is very important to me. And so if your whys are important to you, make it important to you and treat it like a business. Treat it like your life depends on it. And when you show up to the calls, you guys show up to learn. I have so many, like, I have cassette tapes. I've been going through my basement, like, organizing things, because I've never really done that since we moved into this house, and I've just been kind of organizing and doing stuff. And I found this whole box of all these cassette tapes, and you guys, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're like my babies, because I grew up on these cassette tapes. They like molded me. They're what I listened to over and over and over. I went and bought a Walkman because cassette tapes weren't even really relevant when I started. I went to Big Lots and found a Walkman, and while I would clean houses, I would listen to the same cassette tape over and over and over and over, because we didn't have Learn and Burns. We didn't have all that stuff when I started. We didn't have a gazillion trainings at our fingertip. I subscribed to Cassette Tape of the Month, which gave me 4 trainings for the whole month. I listened to those 4 trainings over and over and over and over because I was so grateful for them. When I look at those cassette tapes, I can tell you every bit of what that training is. Even still to this day, I'm like, oh, I remember this training. It was about blah, 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 blah. And it excited me so much. I got a cassette tape player, and I've been listening to these trainings all over again because I'm so excited. My kids are like, what are you doing? But you guys, that's what built my belief to where I am today, because I brainwashed myself into believing that maybe it could happen for me too. And so let's lean into that. See what you need to sacrifice for the next 90 days. See what you can amp it up. Like, we're not playing just a little bit. What's a little extra you can give to your business? And more than anything, make sure your world around you knows that you're doing Arbonne, but not in a nasty way where you're crabby and whatever. Like, be excited where they're like, what the heck's going on in her business? Speak life to yourself. Dream big. No big things are happening for you. Plan your car presentation. Pick up your Mercedes-Benz. Put that picture up there. Bet on yourself and act as if though you are the Carlita Nelson for your organization. Whoever it is that you look up to and you're in this business, you are that person for your team. And rally your team. And let's see, like, gosh, I'm so excited to see what this next 90 days is going to look like for so many of our businesses when we lean into that. And I just want to really encourage all of us, rise up to that. Put away the distractions, you guys. Put away social media and all the things that we just get sucked into so quickly, you guys. The social media is the TV of yesterday. And it is so easy to just scroll over nonsense and get negative and feel so yucky, because social media can bring you down. Set time limits for yourself. Be very intentional with your time that you have, because you're either putting energy into yourself or you're draining yourself. You do not have enough energy to allow yourself to be drained. Set limits for yourself. Set accountability for yourself. If you need help, ask someone. Say, hey, this is where I'm struggling. Vulnerability is the best thing ever. As soon as you open it up and get it out there, someone can help you. And if they can't, they can help someone. They can find someone to help you. You guys, I'm like an open book. If you need to know something, I ain't hiding it, because I know once things are brought into the light, they can get help. And so if you're struggling, bring it into the light. Let someone help you with whatever. You guys, Carlita's helped me with parenting. Carlita's helped me with my marriage. Carlita's helped me, like, there are certain people in my Arbonne business. Sheri Nelson, gosh, she's been a mentor to me in my marriage. She's been a mentor to me in my parenting. An Arbonne sister that I met at an Arbonne retreat. So you have some amazing people surrounding you who would love to help you to figure out what it is that's holding you back so you can move forward. So get crystal clear what's holding you back. Is it your house is chaotic? Is it that your kids are out of control? Is it that your marriage is a mess? What is it that's keeping you back? Because if your home's a mess, I guarantee you your business is probably going to be a mess. And so Arbonne sometimes makes us feel like Arbonne's causing our marriage to be bad or causing our parenting to be bad. But all it does is it magnifies things that were already not good. And you have 2 choices. You can lean in and say, okay, this is not good and we need to fix this. Or you can say Arbonne's causing this, and you can lean back and quit. And I challenge you, lean in. My marriage, gosh, my husband was the most unsupportive person. We have, like, I can't even, like, express to you where our marriage is today. And it's because I leaned in and I fought a little harder for it. And so be an open book, let people help you to get to wherever it is that you need to get to so that you can grow, and be patient with yourself as you grow, but believe big things for you, because you can grow a massive business while you're also working on your marriage, while you're also working on your parenting. It doesn't have to be all perfect first, but focus in, be a well-balanced success is all of it. Because if you're successful financially, but your marriage is a mess, it's not successful. If you're successful financially, but your kids are a mess and you don't like chaos, it doesn't feel successful. Work on the whole package. Be the best version of you. Lean into becoming the best success picture that you can imagine. You can have that. And it comes with growth. We grow in every area. And so this is a 90-day cycle. Like, I'm excited. Like, write down where you are right now and where you want to be in 90 days in every area, and lean into it and just see what happens. So anyway, I talked too much. It's getting dark. And I know we have another conference call coming up. Does anyone have any questions, though, before we turn my light on, before we go away? Because I know we only have like 15 minutes. But if no one has any questions, we will wrap it up. Tammy, did you have anything you needed to add?
I don't think so, Sheri. That was awesome. Thank you so much for pouring into us tonight.
You're welcome. All right. Well, let's go get some detox tea, go potty, and get ready for round 2. Love you guys.